Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post another quick video here. This is going to be a kind of a follow-up to the last Give Me 10 video I did. The last one I did was Give Me 10 80s R&B male artists. So this is going to be, 80s R&B male artists. So this video is going to be the 80s R&B female artists. Again, as kind of the thread is going, at least for me, not necessarily the top 10 songs, but the 10 that kind of I dig the most right now, that give me the most goosebumps and all that good stuff. So let me just kind of jump right in on it. Number one, what you hear playing in the background, which is Vanity 6. I'm sure a lot of you big fans from the 80s definitely remember this one. You know, I don't know. It's not like they were extremely talented, but it was just that fun stuff from the 80s. And, you know, they were kind of trashy, you know, for the times at least. Not to mention Vanity was hot as could be. But yeah, Nasty Girl, I love that song. It's just kind of, like I said, it's funny. It definitely takes me back to the 80s. Every time I hear it, it makes me think about that scene in Beverly Hills Cop where Eddie Murphy goes to the strip club and he's kind of doing its Eddie Murphy thing, which is kind of funny. So that's definitely one. You know, Vanity 2, of course, was back during that Prince era where Prince was kind of just turning out every chick there was. I mean, it really is funny when you think about it, because when you think about Vanity, Apollonia, Sheila E., Sheena Easton, it's like all these female artists that Prince either dated or worked with or whatever else. It's like they all had that little spot in their career where they kind of took on a Prince persona, where either it was his flavor that he has in his music or the way he dressed and all of that. I don't know, it's just kind of funny. I always think about that when I think about those ladies I just mentioned. But Nasty Girl is definitely on the list. Here's another one of the bands I really love from the 80s as far as the female R&B artists, which is Climax. You know, they had a couple songs you could pick from. I think their biggest hit was probably I Miss You, but The Men Have All Paused is another great song. But the one I'm picking for my Give Me 10 is Meeting in the Ladies' Room. That was just one of those fun songs I really loved from back in the 80s. I've always said Climax was kind of like the female version of Cameo back in the day. Because again, Cameo was kind of the R&B group that was very rock and roll like, in that they just kind of did what they wanted to do and didn't really care and all that kind of stuff. And Climax was kind of the female version of that. You know, they had some really fun stuff, some really weird stuff, and especially this girl right here, I forgot her name, but she was kind of the one in the videos with, you know, half her head was shaved on one side, and she was always doing weird kind of dances and just kind of the character of the group. But yeah, really, really love Climax. A great 80s R&B group. And of course, you're not going to get away with 80s R&B without, and of course you could throw Janet in the pop, but I also consider her definitely R&B, especially for what was going on in the 80s. And so, you know, a million songs you could pick by her, but again, my biggest goosebump song with her is probably Let's Wait a While. The simplicity of that song, I say that a lot about a number of different songs, but when you can bring such emotion with such simplicity, that's just something that always captures me. It almost like it keeps it pure for some reason. But yeah, Let's Wait a While, between her vocal delivery and that keyboard that's in there, I mean, that's just a beautiful piece of music. But the thing I found so interesting is that I was digging through, pulling stuff out. You know, I pulled out this and I also pulled out Rhythm Nation and kind of looked on it. And you know how an artist can be around for 15, 20 years and they have greatest hits albums that come out and compilations and all that type of stuff. But sometimes it's easy to forget, you know, when you look at just Control and Rhythm Nation, just the hit after hit after hit that was on those two albums. And you kind of look at those two and think, this is a Janet Jackson's greatest hits. I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those interesting things in me to just kind of go back and realize, even though you know it's just kind of sunk in the back of your mind, But Let's Wait a While is definitely one I have to put on that Give Me 10. Next one here as well. This is one of the queen of the 80s R&B scene. You cannot have a solid 80s R&B collection without having any Evelyn Champagne King in your collection. Again, there's a number of different songs you can pick by her. Her 4 biggest songs were probably Shame, which I'm not that fond of, but I'm in Love, which was on her previous album, Love Come Down, which is on this album. Any of those songs could easily be a Give Me 10, but I'm going to choose the song Betcha She Don't Love You. Again, going back to this simple funk groove that I just remember watching that video back in grade school and just loved it to death and still love it today. 9 times out of 10, if I get a craving to listen to Evelyn Champagne King, that's the first song I go to is Betcha She Don't Love You. So definitely have to put her on the list. Next, my girl Gladys Knight and the Pips. The song Love Overboard. This is a 12-inch single. And this is a song that maybe was not one of her more popular songs, so to speak, but I bought one of those 80s greatest hit CDs back in college, and this is just one of the songs that happened to be on one of the compilations, and I don't know, I just really liked it. Nice groovy beat to it. I love kind of the sass in her vocal delivery, going kind of with the lyrics and the story of the song. So just really cool stuff. Arguably my favorite Gladys Knight and the Pips song. And of course, my girl, Lisa and the Colt Jam. Never get enough of her. I mean, she was definitely a queen, R&B, pop, dance queen back in the 80s. And again, a lot of songs you can choose by her, but I'm going to go with I Wonder If I Take You Home, which is kind of a duet she did with Full Force. Full Force was involved with a lot of the great R&B stuff back then. Some stuff, they actually did their own albums and a lot of behind-the-scenes producing and everything. A ton of it, actually. So they did some stuff with Lisa, which was awesome. And I Wonder If I Take You Home, it's just an awesome groove. Great R&B type song, but also kind of a great dance song and everything else. And as you can see, this copy is autographed. Thanks to my good friend, Mr. Billy Crayoni. He's pretty good friends with Lisa, and I don't know, this is one of the great things about music too, is that I've had a crush on her since like 6th grade. I mean, you're talking like a long time ago. And if you'd have told me back in 6th grade that at some point in time she was going to make a video saying hi to me, signing my records and everything on video, and then when I asked her if she would kiss my records for me, she did. I mean, that's Lisa's lip print. Woo! I would have lost my mind back then if she'd have told me that. So this is a really cool piece to have in my collection because it just kind of gives you that whole flashback thing. Next, my girl Tina Turner. I mean, you could do a Give Me 10 from the 60s, 70s, and 80s and find something by Tina you can put in there. So a ton of stuff you could choose from, but I'm going to go with Let's Stay Together. Again, not her best hit, but every time I hear her belt out the intro to that song, it's just the power in her vocals. I mean, it's just pure Tina up and down. I actually saw her in concert once, and it was great. That's all I can say about that. Whitney Houston, another one I was actually surprised I narrowed it down to her on the list. I never was a huge Whitney Houston fan, but you also have to give credit where credit is due. And again, there's a few songs you can choose by her, but I'm going to go with Saving All My Love for You. A song I really didn't get when it first came out, and it was a hit back in the mid-'80s, 84, 85. But I don't know, like the last probably 4 or 5 years, it's just, I've started to understand it. I've started to really hear the beauty in it. And it really is an incredible song. So, again, I definitely have to throw Whitney in the mix there. If you wonder what that little sticker is on the back, whenever an artist dies, on the day that they die, I always just take a quick minute just to jot down a note about, what I was thinking, what was kind of going on, and, just something to kind of reflect on down the line. Then we have Cherrelle, another kind of queen of the 80s R&B. She was the one I mentioned about with Alexander O'Neal in my 80s male R&B. She did a lot of duets with him in the 80s. But again, she had a lot of different hits you can choose from as well. But again, I'm going to go with You Look Good to Me, one of my favorite dance tracks from back. And I don't mean dance as in like poppy type dance. I mean like R&B type dance. Love the video too, but it's just she has a lot of great stuff. So again, if you're not familiar with Cherrelle, make sure you check her out. You Look Good to Me, Saturday Love is another great song, a duet she does with Alexander O'Neal. That's on this album actually. Didn't Mean to Turn You On, other great songs as well. And so those are in no particular order whatsoever, but I would say there is a number one. And that number one is the Tom Tom Club. Oddly enough, you know, I mean, it's just interesting all around. The song is The Genius of Love, which I think right there with More Bounce to the Ounce and I Can Make You Dance by Roger and Zapp, Genius of Love is one of the funkiest tracks ever written. Between those three songs, you can declare those are three of the funkiest tracks ever written. And the odd thing about it is that the Tom Tom Club was basically the band members of the Talking Heads. I mean, of all places for something that funky to come from. I mean, it was on the R&B charts forever. And when you listen to the album, nothing else on it is R&B at all. It's weird Talking Heads type stuff. And somewhere out of the blue, just Genius of Love was this total fluke that just came out of nowhere. That was a smash on the R&B charts. And so I would definitely pick that as my number one with the Give Me 10 for female artists. And even though there were male and females, I mean, predominantly the vocals are female in that song, so I put it in the female category. So anyway, there you go, guys. That's my Give Me 10 for 80s R&B female artists. I'm not sure what the next one would be. I think I might do metal on the next one. I did new metal last time, so we'll just kind of see whatever pops up. But as always, let me know what you think, and we will talk to you guys later. All right, take care, guys.